They got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money. The pressure be calling. Left on my blessings. I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something. That's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression. It's all that I wanted. The phone and affection. I summon and dub it. Cause they got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money. The pressure be calling. Left on my blessings. I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something. That's why I ain't.
Y'all know what time it is. You're listening to the Urban Sports Scene, and it is Commanders Friday. We're back on it. Commanders are, the Commanders having like a slow little, well, they're having like a negative portion in the season. But you know what? We stay positive over here. Before we talk about the Commanders' upcoming game, we got to knock out some logistics. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, tune in, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Make sure you subscribe to the Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel. If you're in the YouTube chat, we accept super chats. Super chats help us support our show. The super chats will be prioritized over all comments in the chat. Don't forget to tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene, and also like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. Also join our Urban Sports Scene Facebook group. Just search Urban Sports Scene, sports bloggers, sports podcasters, and sports debates. All right, let's get into our tradition, the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus his Commanders beat reporter Donna Hopkins will join me to preview the Commanders' Sunday night football game against the Seattle Seahawks. Let's not waste any time. Let's introduce the lovely, the great, one of my favorite reporters in the game, Miss Donna Hopkins. How you doing, Donna? Now, are you on mute? Did you mute? Oh, I muted you. It's me. Sorry. How you doing, Don?
Oh, Wally, we started off like that. We're supposed to have a fast start.
I know, Donna. That's my fault. That's my fault. I muted you. I feel bad about it.
And Wally, you got the Commanders a little bit. You a little slow start right here.
I know. I got this point. I'm at this point, right? I'm in this like 3 podcast losing streak type of thing, I guess, right?
Right.
Hey, Don, it's good to have you back on. I've seen your work. It's been great. It's been good seeing you out there. Actually, I'm going to talk about the question you asked Coach today because I heard your question. I thought it was a really good question. But speaking of this game, obviously, we pretty much talked about this. Commanders team is on a 3-game losing streak. Donna, JD5 is set to return after missing the Chiefs game with the hamstring injury. Given how the offense hasn't looked like it did last season, how important is his return, and what do you expect from him in this primetime game against the Seattle Seahawks defense?
Yeah, not taking anything from Marcus Mariota because he came in as the relief pitcher, and to me, he did a pretty good job. But he is not Jayden Daniels because Jayden Daniels being in Kansas City last week on the sideline and the energy that he brought just because he was on the sidelines. And let me tell you, he's cheering for his teammates, whether he's in or out of the game. But the fact that he traveled there saying that he wanted to be with the brotherhood was so key. Now, talking about Jayden Daniels and how important he is to this team. That's the reason why he wasn't on this last week playing against Kansas City because of the hamstring injury, and they want to make sure that doesn't linger on. Because I was talking to some people about hamstring injuries, and they said you have to get those well, or they nag you all the way, and they can't afford to have Jayden, who has missed already 3 games. The reason why I say that Jayden is so important to this offense this week. Even though Terry McLaurin will not be playing again because he re-injured that quad, but the fact that they have Deebo Samuels back, he to me is 100% is what they were saying. I watched him at practice. It doesn't look like he's limping or any of those things, but I do miss Deebo Samuels back in the backfield running the ball a little bit because I thought that's when the offense was really effective when you were mixing him in the mix as far as the running back also. But and then in special teams too, in his return yards, he was good there too. But they can't afford at this point to have him doing extra things because of the receiving group. So going back to, and I mentioned Deebo and everything because he's going to help Jayden Daniels out this week by having a caliber receiver as Deebo Samuels, because you saw last week when they had Deebo although I didn't think they used him a lot or got the
Mm-hmm.
ball to him enough. But to have Terry and Debo back in there, it opened up the offense a little bit. And I think defense is much better. But let's talk about Jayden being in there and why it's important for him to be back. Because I think that Jayden adds a different element as far as his passing. And then Mariota and him both runs. But I just think that it's a different flavor in there when Jayden is in there. But it does not matter if Jayden is in there, if the receivers cannot catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Receivers cannot get open. That's the key thing that you have to see this week. The Commanders, they got off to a fast start, but they turned the ball over too.
Mm-hmm.
And this team cannot afford to have any hiccups in any way, whether it's on offense or on defense. But again, with Jayden being back there, to me, you have your anchor back in there. Anytime your anchor is not there, you miss that guy. And he's the one that makes this offense go. Now, I think that, like I said, the receivers have to catch the ball. Tight ends have to catch the ball. They have to do their part. Offensive line has to do their part too, as far as blocking for Jayden, so that Jayden does not have to run as much. And when you think about Seattle, Wally, their defense is stingy with running the ball.
Yeah.
So, but you can't become one-dimensional. You've got to be able to mix up things as far as, because they only given up 75 yards per game for teams. But with Jayden back in there, you don't know whether he's going to run. You know his throwing abilities, and then the energy that he brings to this team. I mean, he's excited about being back on that field, getting things right, because he knows that this is probably not his best start of the season.
Yeah.
He has not been as crisp as he was last year. But it's a lot of factors that go into that, because with some of the injuries, people don't realize when you have a leg injury, it affects somewhat your throwing, because you got to backpedal on it, and your stance and your setting and all of that. And people wonder why Jayden is off a little bit in some of his passes at times. When you suffer leg injuries, that affect other things as far as you just being in the position to be comfortable to get in your stance and everything.
No, I agree with you. That was the thing I was going to say. Like, yeah, I do think like Jayden brings a certain level of confidence to your team. That just, it is what it is. That he's a leader. Like, that's what it is. He has it. He is a leader. But
that's what the players are all saying. When you mentioned having Jayden back, they said, our guys back, not taking anything from Mariota.
Of course.
Our quarterback is back.
Yeah.
And you can just see them, the excitement, and when they say Jayden is back, and then his presence in the locker room and all of that adds a whole different confidence to this team.
No, that's the thing. Like, you can just see it. You know what I mean? Like you said, just seeing him on the sideline, excited for his teammates. That's just a leader. But that's you kind of go to something I also want to talk about when you talk about he hasn't had the best, the season that he's wanted to have. Like I say, like, it's not like 2024 to 2025. It's not that type of season. But he's had games where he's kind of showed his flashes though of that type of season of last year. So in this game, do you feel like he has to kind of win this game against Seattle? Do you feel like he has to be like that 24-25 Jayden Daniels? Or is it up to like Cliff and company to kind of devise a plan to make life easy for Jayden?
I think that it has to be a combination of everything. I think the whole team has to be 2024 as far as playing like that. It's a different team. And it's been a lot of injury also. And I know people don't like to harp on the injuries, but it changes the dynamics of this team as far as some of the bodies that have gone down with injuries. But as they say, next man up. Yeah. And the next man up, though, has to step in and be able to produce. You may not produce like the others, the people that were starters, but you still have to come in there and produce. So I think that it's a little bit of everything, Wally. I don't think that Jayden should press to try to do everything, because it's not for him to do everything. It's for other pieces of the team to also step up. That means the offensive line. I was talking to them this week also too about the pass blocking that has not always been great. It wasn't, I don't think, last week. And throughout the whole season, the pass blocking in Jayden getting enough time, Mariota getting enough time, and then the run deep offensive line, as far as blocking, wasn't good last week, and that surprised me because Sam Cosby is back.
Yeah.
Even though Laramie got nicked up a little bit last week, he's supposed to play. I talked to him today. I said, "Hey, Laramie, how are you doing?" "I'm good to go." If not, I think also that Brandon Coleman did a good job because he was back over in the tackle position, where I think that's his true position. Although Brandon told me this week that he wants to be an all-around player where he can play in multiple areas, but it was good that was an area at tackle that he was comfortable. He said after he went through a couple of series, he was ready to go. It was like shaking off the rust and everything. So I thought he played pretty good.
I thought he played well too.
Have all the pieces in place, and Kingsbury talked about, and Coach Quinn talked about Cosby getting his feet even more settled now, since he had a couple games under his belt, and you could just see him coming on. And they were talking about the relationship between Josh Connolly and Cosby, and that mashing together, and is starting to do that. So I expect the offensive line to play a little better even this week, since you got some bodies in there. But the running game, Wally, to take pressure off Jayden, some way, somehow. I don't care about Seattle holding people to 75 yards, and they are stingy as far as running the ball. As the offensive lineman told me this week, we have to be able to create seams for our running back. And talking to some of the running backs, they said that it's the little things that is not clicking that affects everything. And then everybody has to stay true to their assignments. If one guy's off, Wally, you well know, if you're playing basketball, whatever, and you're not taking care of your guy and shifting and whatever, it's going to throw off the whole thing.
Everybody.
Same thing as with football, that offensive line has to be on point this week to take the pressure off of Jayden, not trying to do it all himself, and he should not have to do it. And the running game has to be point on. You got to find a way to run through the defense of the Seahawks. And then I think the most important part also, we harp on the players so much. The Kingsbury has to be on point also. He has to be able to create some pulling out his bag of tricks. He's got to be able to basically counter everything Seattle is going to be able to do. So he has to basically get in their heads where this offense really produces. And on third downs, Wally, that's been an area that Washington has not been good on. And, last week, one of the plays, and it may have been a few plays, where they picked up 8 yards running the ball on the first down. And then they went to the passing game for 2 yards. You should have just kept pounding it to get those 2 yards. So that's what I'm looking at. And when you talk about Kingsbury, is everybody has to be on top of their game this week, because Seattle is coming off a bye week. They're rested up. They're getting some bodies back from injury and everything. So the way the Commanders started off, minus the turnovers, where they held Kansas City to 7 points at halftime, and they have to capitalize on the mistakes on the other end where they punch it in, and they have been good in the red zone. So to your point, Wally, everybody has to play well.
Yeah. Paul says cliff sequencing. That's something where I had an issue with in that game. And I don't want to keep it going backwards because we are here to focus on the Seattle game. But I do want to go into because you mentioned something that I think that's something Cliff has to work on. You can't, and I heard his presser and his explanation. I was like, that's a little bit of whatever. But it is what it is. I understand. You still have to kind of, you can't. You're not supposed to put everything out there. But I will say this though, to your point, That was my issue. You got 8 yards running the football, and then everyone knew what kind of game it was. Like, you're going to go for it. We knew what kind of game. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't take shots down the field, but I think there's sequencing in it. If it's 3rd and 1, you should take that shot on 3rd down. Take that shot on 3rd down. You don't take that shot on 4th down. That doesn't make any sense. You take that shot on 3rd down, then you can then you give yourself some leeway to run the football for the 1st down. Like, now you continue the chains moving, because just like Coach Witt said in his presser, like, when you're playing against, on his side, when you're playing against a Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid, Kansas City Chiefs team, defense, whatever, because football, we're talking about both hands working together, offense and defense. So when you don't score in those situations and you don't take advantage of those situations, oh yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, you're giving Patrick Mahomes an opportunity to go there and score on your defense. When you put pressure on you put pressure on Patrick Mahomes as an offense. If you hold the football, if you score touchdowns, instead of taking those type of risks. So to your point, Donna, I agree. I think that's something I feel like. I think Cliff is a really good offensive coordinator. What I mean by that is that I think he's good at this, like coming up with plays, getting guys open. I think he's really good at it, scheming, good running plays, not just passing plays, and good running plays. I do think that Cliff gets in his own way when he gets a little too cute rather than just doing what's needed to be done. Again, I'm not saying like if it's a game that you're going to be going for it, because that's what was different from last year. Last year, they didn't do it like that. Last year, once they got in 3rd and short, all right, if they didn't get 3rd and short, they were going to go and they were going to give you a play to make it easier to get it on 4th. You know what I mean? 4th and short. Like, if that's why they were so good on 4th down, because their 4th downs weren't like 4th and 7 or they were like 4th and 5 or 4th and 4 or 4th and 3 or 4th and 1. They got in a place where it was easy to pick up, and even 3rd down, they got 1st and 2nd and got it to a point on 3rd down was like 3rd and 3 or whatever, and that's why they had a great conversion rate. So I just think everything you said was spot on.
Look, Detroit go for it on 4th and 20.
Yeah.
Detroit basically said, we don't care what the yardage is on 4th down.
But their offense.
Now, one thing I do like what Coach Quinn said is we're going to be bold, meaning that we're going for it.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the thing, too, is in that game last week, they almost had to go for it a lot on 4th because their kicker was hurt at the last. Coming into the game at the 9th hour, that changes the dynamic of things too because of that. But I'm not against them going on 4th down.
Me
because
either.
they've been good on 4th down and picking up the 1st down. But I just think that when you look at the bodies that you have on this team, you have to be savvy because you don't have the Terry McLaurins and some of those other guys that are injured and everything. So therefore, knowing your strength with these other guys changes up some of the things that you want to do that you may not be able to do, but you still can be effective in what you're going to do. So that's my thing as far as that goes, is that when Seattle with a defense like that, they have good pressure on the edges and they come after you. They don't necessarily blitz and get through. They're just a good defense that just gets at you.
Yeah, and they got like good cornerback play. They got a good secondary. But yeah, basically, I'm with you. I feel like you can still go for it and have that same aggressive mentality. It just, you got to go about it a certain way. You don't have like a Terry McLaurin out there to help you get to beat one-on-one coverage, or you know what I mean. Debo wasn't 100%. You know what I mean. So there's things you can work around it to a point where if it's 4th and 1. Your job is to stay on the football field and keep that defense and keep your defense off the field. So you should run the football. It shouldn't be a shot.
A team like Patrick Mahomes that you keep off the field, that means you gotta move the chains. Moving the chains.
It's not always about outscoring Patrick Mahomes. It's also about keeping him off the field. You know what I mean? That's the most important part of it. So when I heard his presser and I was like, oh, yeah, I get it. But like, he liked the play. I was like, he liked that look. And it's cool to like a look, but also you got to weigh. Like there's going for it, but there's reckless going for it. It's really two different things. Like you can go for it and be risky. I like because I feel like going for it is our identity, is the Commanders' identity. I think that's part of the identity. But there is a way of being like cautiously risky, if that makes any sense. And I just felt like they weren't cautiously risky in that game. I just felt like they were like, we're going, like, I felt like Cliff could have set them up to go for it and get the first down and keep things going rather than, okay, let me take my shot. I'm just gonna take my shot. I don't care. I'm gonna take my shot. And I felt like,
not cutting you off, but I
no,
think
you're
that
fine. You're fine.
utilize the running backs a little bit more because at the beginning of the season when they were effective, they used all three of them. I mean, Eckler, they really miss him in there, but you don't have Austin Eckler, so you have to move on. But I thought that they were effective after they lost Eckler in using Bill, in using Rodriguez, and using Jeremy McNichols, because we saw that when you use Jeremy McNichols, look at what he does. And the thing that I remember last year, what Coach Quinn and some of the other coaches told me, Anthony Lynn said, is the thing about Jeremy McNichols is that he could play Brian Robinson's position and he could also play Austin Eckler position. So you can utilize him with both of those techniques of what you were using a Brian Robinson for and also an Eckler. So I think that if they can mix up things a little bit more with Rodriguez, we don't even see him that much, and
at all, which kills me.
He's a bruiser picking up those short yardages, and definitely Jeremy McNichols catches the ball well out the backfield. He runs the ball well, and then Bill gives you another element and everything. And so I think that when changing them up sometimes to use all three of them affects the defense in countering that punch.
No, I agree. The firm says, thank you for having OG D Hop, a legend. Salute. Donna's awesome. She's like the current. She's everything. She's awesome. Like, let that be known. Like, that's just a guarantee. Like, Donna's is awesome. But yeah, I agree with that. I just feel like that's my thing too. And like, because this has been a consistent thing for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, not utilizing the running back by committee. Because I've had you on this show, Donna, had Candy, Lake. You all have all said that like they like this running back room, like they really like this running back room. And then when they get the opportunity, they traded B-Rob. That's done. It's over, right? But they have three guys in the backfield that I feel like are very productive, all of them. And they should go to like what they planned on doing, having running back by committee. They should plan on using that because, to your point, look, everybody who's listened to me on this show has known that I have not been the height because of like the NFC Championship game. I was so down on McNichols. But I'm going to be honest with you, like that dude is productive every time I see him on the football field. Every time he's productive. You're looking at C-Rod. Every time this dude gets an opportunity, he's giving you some positive run. We all know how dynamic Bill is. I feel like you're putting too much pressure on Bill to give him this amount of carries. Go back into like running back by committee because I feel like it makes your running game so versatile and defenses aren't ready for it. Like you got a fresh body, you got a guy with wiggle, you got a guy in McNichols who got a little wiggle and some strength. You got a guy in C-Rob, to your point, Donna, is the power back, but also has good vision and is that one cut and go type of running back. There is so much versatility that you have that you can really control the time of a football game if you do it correctly. And we can have something, this team can have something similar to what we saw last season in terms of ball control. Now it's like we don't have that type of vibe. Well, granted, we are still one of the better running football teams in the league, but that to me, we're not really using that as a true identity. We have moments where we do it and it's our identity, but it's not consistent enough. And I feel like it's not that it's not effective. It's more of we're not showing teams like Coach Gibbs. You cover Coach Gibbs, like Coach Gibbs. You gonna get this run game and you gonna try to stop it. We gonna still do it. Try to stop it.
Do the same play, that counter play until you stop it. And guess what? They couldn't stop it. They knew that they were gonna do it, but you still couldn't stop it. And that's my thing is I don't think, well, they stressed this week, Coach Quinn.
I saw
we got to run the ball. Yeah. You can't have 60 yards. They had 60 yards last week, and they only had 15 in the second half. That means that you weren't that far behind that you still couldn't stick to the run. Yeah. I mean, 15 yards in the second half, that means that you probably didn't run the ball that much.
That's
so again, I don't think they stay with the run long enough for it to be established to get it going because again, if you become one dimensional and you don't have the Terry McLaurins and some of your heavy hitters in the passing game, then you have to be true to the running game. And to me, I asked what the identity of this team was a couple of weeks back, Coach Quinn, and he said still developing, work in progress for the most part.
Wow,
and so therefore, we're going into the second half of the season, and you're trying to figure out your identity on offense and your identity on defense. And I think at this stage of the game, you have to figure out, are we going to be a power running team? And I think you have the backs to do that until we get up some speed with the run with the wide receivers, because Jalen Lane has to be able to step up a little bit more now. Your tight end, because this, to me, I know Zach Ertz is basically saying, man, what's going on right now? Because he had an outstanding training camp. I would say, man, this is going to be a good season for Zach Ertz again. But so far, it really hasn't been what it was last year. So, the tight ends, to me, have to step up a little bit more. And because we don't have the wide receiving room that we had last year, so everybody has to step up their game. Luke has been playing, to me, really good. He stepped up, but now everybody has to step up a little bit more so that you fear their passing game and everything.
No, I agree. They all got to step up. Like they do. They do have to, like, guys have to, Zach has to step up. All these, like, in terms of like dropping passes, that's what I mean. Like, to your point, like, you can't be dropping these passes. But you speaking of like wide receiver, obviously, Terry McLaurin's been ruled out. We talked about that. Who do you think needs to have a big game among the receivers for this offense to keep pace?
Debo Samuel.
Gotcha.
Make no bones about it. And let me just say this. Jayden loves Debo Samuels. When Jayden was in there, Debo got a lot of targets and whatever. I mean, I see that connection being huge this week. Having your main guy back, and then Debo seems to be much better this week as far as that heel injury. And I just look at them really being able to really, now they're going to key in on probably Debo also, but if there was a glimmer of a hole in their defense as far as Seattle, it's probably somewhat of their safety play, because I think Love is going to be out this week. They were trying to get him back from the hamstring injury, and Weatherspoon, I don't know, I'm not for sure if he's going to play this week either. But I think that they can expose them in that area a little bit. But everybody else has to, if they're double teaming or whatever, and I think Debo, no matter what, is going to be able to catch the ball. He's physical, and Jayden loves throwing to him. So I look at those two of having really a big game between each other.
Yeah, Debo's definitely one. Definitely, it's always Debo's the one for, honestly. I agree with you. But say, all right, because let me play devil's advocate. Obviously, Debo is the name, right? Say Seattle sees that and they say, okay, we're doubling Debo. Just like, Terry had to deal with that before, dealt with that. Terry's not out there. Debo's out there. Who's going to have to step up after Debo?
Zach. I think Zach is your other person.
Okay.
I think all of them really have to step up, but I'm looking at the leaders right now.
I got you.
Guys that's been there before. And so I think that if you get a Zach to step up, another good target that Jayden likes to find is Zach Ertz. Between him and Debo, if those guys really play their game, I think that you would see that part of the offense elevate itself this week as far as the passing game. And the other guys have to do their part too. But those two guys, I'm really looking to say, these are the guys, the playmakers that really need to be on their A game this week, A+ game this week.
Yeah, I would like to see Jayden Lane step up, man. He's a guy I'm really high on. Oh yeah, defensive line. Defensive line has to step up, obviously. But we'll talk about the offense.
I was only dealing
We
with
will get there. No, we talking about offense. We gonna get there later. I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
Victor.
I was only dealing with the offense.
No.
That's a different story.
No, we gonna get there later. We gonna get there because believe me, we got the deep. I'm on that one. I'm on that one.
Somebody is already ready to punch that one.
I know, you ready, but yeah, I just think that I think Jalen he had a tough one on Monday night because and as receiver he had a tough one. So I think he has so much ability, just in terms he can route run. I know he can route run. His hands have been. I was thinking after he had that punt return for a touchdown, we wouldn't worry about the drops anymore. But it's still that's still rearing his head out there. So he's going to, because right now I want him to get. I feel like the best situation for him and the best opportunity for him to get his confidence back isn't like a pass that he's going to get like a route type of pass, right? I'm not looking for that for him right now. Because truth be told, a lot of y'all know how you can trust it at this particular point in time, to be honest with you, because of his hand situation.
A couple of games.
Maybe a couple ago, yeah.
He had the big catch.
Yeah.
I think that one good catch and whatever builds his confidence. And maybe it's the connection with him and Jayden.
Maybe too. Maybe I would just say I would bring him in real slowly. And what I mean by that is not not use him, but maybe get him a couple wide receiver screens, like you use Debo. Give him a situation where he can get in space, then he can use his natural ability. So he's not thinking oh, I gotta make this catch, right? Just so because as soon as you make one, if you make a simple catch and say he goes for 20 yards, now he's like we're human. We're automatically gonna feel more confident. Anything that comes our way, we're gonna handle. You know what I mean? So I just think they give him so he can forget about what happened Monday night. Give him something easy. And I feel like that can lead him to having a good game against Seattle. Luke McCaffrey continue to do what he's doing because he's progressing as a wide receiver. I know folks out there thinking damn, I said something nice about Luke McCaffrey. I could say something nice about Luke McCaffrey. Progress as a wide receiver, but to your point, this is the Jayden show, and Jayden is comfortable with two individuals that we definitely know. And to your point, you're right. It's Debo and it's Zach. Those two will be getting touches. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Those two will be getting touches, and they will be leaned on. We can't have Zach Ertz. We can't have those type of miscues with Zach Ertz like we did on Monday night. But to your point, just like we talk about what happened with Lane, Zach and Jayden are close. They are really good. They have a connection. So hopefully with Jayden being back, we won't see those drop passes with Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I'm hoping because, like I said, everybody's got to be on their A game. That's what I heard all this week. As far as we've got to execute, we've got to, it only takes one play, one win to get over this 3-game skid and everything. And I think that this team is better than what we think they are. It's just, Wally, you well know, little things, if you don't correct those, turn into big games. And once you tweak those little things and you're able to get over that hump, because you saw some of that. It's not like that they're making 1,000 mistakes or anything like that. Yeah. It's just little things that is not clicking as smoothly as it was last year. And, I saw last week something that when they simplified some things on the defensive side, and I know we're going to talk about that a little later, but when they started off of even on the offensive side, you could feel the energy out there on the field in Kansas City. It was a difference than in past things. It was and I saw that out there this week too. It starts in practice. What they say, you play like you practice.
Facts.
I saw the energy, a little different twist and whatever. And none of the players are to the point where they're pushing the panic button. Maybe a lot of the other people are pushing the panic button.
Oh, yeah, I mean, fans are.
As a team, they're not pushing the panic button because you still have 8 games to go. And it starts with Seattle. And I know that many people are not giving the Commanders a chance and whatever, but as the players said, we're not listening to the outside noise. We're listening to this locker room and knowing ourselves and what we know we're capable of doing. But you gotta be able to translate that on the field come Sunday night, primetime game again.
No, I agree. My man Travis T said we need JD's legs to be a real factor Sunday night. So how does he look? Do you feel like is he so my question before the injury, the hamstring injury, I felt like his knee wasn't 110%. I didn't see the same explosion personally on TV. How you're out there, you see him. How does he look? How does he look this week? Just by him moving, walking, not even running. How does he?
Yeah, I think I haven't seen any effects of a hamstring or anything like that. But Wally, you got to remember he's wearing a brace. You're not going to have an explosion with a brace on. And I think that the leg probably isn't 100%, but it's probably in the 90s. And the thing about that is, and I'm just saying, I don't know if it's in the 90s.
No, I got you.
I'm just saying that you could tell that with a brace on, if you've ever had a leg injury or whatever,
I've had a brace.
You have to wear a brace. You got, even though it may, the technology now is light, you still got that extra thing pulling along.
It still sucks.
So therefore, that limits you somewhat. So that's the reason why I said he may not have the explosion in this, but let me tell you, before he hurt that hamstring, he was taking off and he was still running fast. And let me tell you, they couldn't catch him.
Look, no, Don. I felt like they were close. Like I guess I compare it to last year. I think last year,
but you can't because he wasn't hurt last year.
Yeah, so I know what you're saying. Like I just
brace on. He was still faster than some of these people that don't have braces on.
That's true. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm not like he's still a great athlete. That's not a knock or anything.
Yeah, and
like,
he's going to play. Let me tell you, you're not going to stop Jayden from running. He's going to
I know.
Start with all of that. But as he told us, that's who he is. He's not thinking about injuries. He's not thinking about any of that stuff. He's just going out there and play. And I think that when you go out there and play, you have less chance to get injured because you're not thinking about or else thinking about your injuries like, oh, let me slow up, whatever. That to me takes away from your game and everything. So I didn't see any effects from the hamstring or any of those things when he was out there passing. Jayden is Jayden. I mean, what you see, his attitude is the same, energy is the same, and all of those things. So I look for him being a breath of fresh air, being back out there. And let me just say, if that hamstring wasn't right, he would not be coming back this week.
I don't know. It's definitely a blessing to be young because I've had folks who had hamstring injuries, and I will say a week is not usually enough time for a hamstring.
Well, let me just say it depends on where the pull is. If it's over, it may take a little longer to heal. If it's lower, it just depends on did you tweak it a little bit or did you really pull it and whatever. And I think he'll be taped up a little bit as far as remember Gary Clark. I was just talking to
Gary Clark. He used to play with a hamstring too. I remember he used to play. He's the toughest.
I don't know how because he had blood in his hamstring.
Yes, I remember that. I remember.
You shouldn't even be able to play now. Gary Clark didn't practice all week. But he came when he came to play on
Sundays. Yeah, I remember. Thanks for reminding me. I remember those days. I remember.
So that's the reason I said I don't understand how he even played because their hamstring probably ain't nowhere where Gary Clark because he had blood in the hamstring.
He did.
So you couldn't even be able to move. It was almost like you're tearing your hamstring off your leg.
Yeah, for real, it was. Oh my God, you just reminded me about that. Gary Clark literally used to always play with a hamstring injury, and you would be scared, but he would just always play on Sundays. And you're right. I remember the game. I remember it was bleeding. Like I remember.
Yeah,
that was he was a tough son of a gun. I tell you, Gary Clark.
Look, that's the kind of player I like. It's like no matter what, I'm gonna get that feel.
Gary was different, definitely different. Paul said it.
Regretting it now.
Yeah. Say what? Yeah, he may regret it now. Yeah, definitely regretting it now. Okay, credit to Gary Clark because I just saw a recent picture of him. He looks great at his age, man. Credit to Gary Clark for real. He doesn't even look. He don't look his age. I'm gonna be honest with you. He doesn't look his age
at all.
Paul said, "Time to activate Treylon Burke." What's going on with Treylon Burks?
You know what? It's funny that Treylon. It's funny that you mentioned him. I was just talking to him this week out at practice and congratulating him. And being on the team and asking him where does he see himself at right now. And he said he's doing everything he possibly can for when he's called up to be able to help this team. I watched him a little bit today out at practice, and the passes that he was catching and coming across, I was like, man, they need to have him on the field. Because I'm telling you, I mean, the little bit that I saw of him throwing the ball to him and the way he was catching the ball and his feet movement and all of that, I was like, that's the guy they need to bring up and be on the field. Because I agree with you. I was funny that you say that. I was just talking to him this week for quite a bit about, him being here and see how he sees this team, how he sees Coach Quinn. He said he loves Coach Quinn, the accountability, as you say, 6'3", 235. So at this point, you definitely, with looking at the wide receivers and the fact that Terry is not going to play, this is your perfect time to put him in. And like I said, what I saw from him today at practice, he needs to be on the field. I'm only seeing a piece of it.
I know.
I'm just saying, from what I saw, I'm not for sure why they don't, bring him up.
I know, Donna, I trust you. So when you say it, I take it as gospel. So he should be. I think he should
be
out there.
I really want to see him on there. You're only going to find out what he can do if you put him on the field. And the fact that you got a big target there, I'm like, what would it hurt at this point?
Really? He look like a solid like 235. Like he look legit like a two. That's legit. Some people would be like, he don't look like you 235.
I don't know if it's 6'3", you know how they put you.
I know, is he legit 6'3"?
6'2" or something.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out. You know what I'm talking about.
Hey, I'm 5'8" and he was taller than me.
Okay, there you go. All right, that's cool. That's good enough. That's good enough. That's close. That's good enough. Because some of them will be like, you ain't even 6 foot, you're not even 6 foot, my guy.
Yeah. They always spike you up a little bit.
A little bit. All right, so speaking of, so let's go to everybody wants to kind of jump over to the defense, and I think
bet they do.
Yeah, of course, right. But I do want to say, I want to talk about some positives that we did see out there on Monday. That hopefully that can kind of.
You better mention the player. I hope that the positive.
Oh yeah, we can. But this is like the newbies, We're talking about the newbies. They got the opportunity, and hopefully it shows its face. And I heard Coach Quinn talk about it too in the presser. Jordan McGee, we're talking about Tyler Owens. These two guys got more snaps against the Kansas City Chiefs. They look fast out there. Frankie Lou moved to the outside as an edge rusher. What did you make of these adjustments first off on Monday night? And do you think adding speed can help them against Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba on Sunday night?
Yeah, I think that when I asked Coach Quinn the other week about, scaling back and simplifying the things and whatever, I think that that's what you saw last week. Talking to the players this week, they were talking about, they don't have to really think through because there's so many different combinations and so forth that they got to think about with various plays. And now it's like A, B, C, D, boom. Mm-hmm. You don't have the whole alphabet to think about, but you just it's really simple about understanding what you're supposed to do. And that to me, what I saw out there is people being able to react quickly because they don't have various pieces to that play that they have to think about versus having 4 versions, you got one. Good. And if you do that one good, then you're going to be more effective. And having Coach Quinn talked about the speed that he saw last week, that is something that he wanted to do. They played faster, meaning that they were going to play probably a little cleaner. And they had a 5-man set so that they could get Jordan McGee in at all times. And you have to have his speed in there, particularly when you have tight ends of Travis Kelce and some of the other teams that have great tight ends. You got to have the speed in that guy to be able to do that. Tyler Owens, they've been trying to get him on the field, and even Kane Madrano, who did not get to play, but they were looking to possibly play him because of his speed and some of the other things that he brings to that linebacker group. But to have these two young guys, and this is the thing that I like about the Commanders of what they looked at. How do we better the defense over these last 8 weeks? When we look at the defense, how do we move them forward? When you move them forward with these two new guys that you are making sure that's on the field quite a bit, and then possibly a Kay Madrano also be inserted in there. So it already made them better in some areas there, because you talked about Frankie Louvu being brought over to the edge because they've been depleted as far as their defensive ends. Wise, they lost him, and then they lost Baptiste, and then they lost Dorrance Armstrong, who was your sack leader. So therefore, Coach Quinn said the next guy up, and Coach Witt also said, would have been Johnny Newton to be over playing the end position, which he has really played well also.
I love Johnny.
And he was nicked up last week also. Another injury to your defensive front. And Wally, if you can't get to the quarterback at all, then it's going to expose, it's going to give the quarterback a lot of time to survey the field, which Patrick Mahomes, as I was talking to some of the secondary guys this week, they said, look, Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback that moves a lot and, outside the pocket and whatever. So he's going to, after a while, if you don't get to him, he's going to be able to hit his target, which he really did. And so you got Sam Darnold coming here this week, who has 1,754 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, quarterback rating of about 72%. I said, so he's been effective and everything. And then you talk about the wide receiver in Jigba.
He's early on in Jigba.
So wide receiver wise, it's the best in the NFL with almost 1,000 yards, 819 yards through 7 games, because they had a bye week. So this guy is primed in before the second half of the season.
Crazy.
To have 1,000 yards. Hopefully not on the Commanders this week. But this guy, 4 touchdowns. He's for real. They let go Metcalf because they had that much confidence in him.
Yep. True.
He is the truth for real. Great receiver. They got a good running game. I don't know if their top running back is going to be back this week, but I just think that the way they're changing up some things on defense to simplify some things. Coach Quinn said taking out some things that did not work. Ain't no need to drive it into the ground when it's not going to be working. Yeah. And by them basically changing that up, that to me has made the guys play better in staying true to what they're supposed to do. Now, the explosive plays still are happening some. Yeah. And I thought that last week they did run the ball on the Commanders, where in previous weeks that they could not run the ball and everything. And you're right. These guys are athletics, which is going to help this team even more so with the knowledge from the other guys, from the veteran leadership and all of that, with what they bring to this. So mixing that all together is going to make this team, whatever they did, Wally, in the first half as far as their coverage. And I'm going to shout out this guy, and I don't care what.
Please go for it.
Hard on him is Lattimore.
Yeah, you got to.
Best game, as Coach Quinn said last week. To me, that interception he has was
beautiful.
Spectacular.
Yeah, beautiful.
In so many ways. The way he picked off that ball, and then he played just solid defense. You didn't hear his name.
Not at all.
He didn't get the flags or whatever. He played a top solid game. And congratulations to Lattimore, because he's the captain of the defense this week.
I know.
Well deserved and everything. So I think if the Commanders play like they did in the first half of the San Francisco game, that you're going to see a better product out there. Now, what has to happen too is the offense has to be the defense also. They have to do their part in keeping Seattle off the field. So
true. No, you just hit that's basically what it is for me. But like you hit all great points. Looking at one, you talking about, I mean, it's a test for Marshawn. And I want to first off add on to this because it's crazy. I'm a Michigan fan. I'm actually rooting for Marshawn. I root for Marshawn. He went to Ohio State. It's crazy. But like I'm always like I defend Marshawn Lattimore. Even against the Cowboys, I defended him to a certain extent. I was like, to me, the pass interference call was a little bogus. That was just my opinion. I thought it was bogus. I thought Pickens pushed him off, and he did slightly turn his head. He didn't turn his head all the way around, but he slightly turned his head, and Pickens is the one that instigating all the contact, but they gave him the PI. And then, obviously some other plays. I mean, that the touchdown to CeeDee Lamb didn't look good either, but this game, I felt like he needed that game against Kansas City. And that interception wasn't just an interception. I keep saying it. There's levels to interceptions. That was an elite interception. That's elite cornerback play. That's elite
next level interception.
Yeah, exactly. There's interceptions that's whatever, but that's a shoulder pass, back shoulder pass. You undercut it. So you change your body, change the direction, and go and get the pick. Nah, that's elite. That's top level.
I got that was spectacular.
That's top level. That's top level.
Top level because that was something of beauty. It's almost like with the pass that Cherry caught for the as far as the
touchdown or the toast edge. Yeah, similar.
Touchdown and the other one. That's the kind of interception it was for Lattimore.
Yeah, it was big. It was needed. So yeah, I agree with you. I feel they need to have like the defense. First off, just to stay on the adjustments. I thought it was great, and I think that's going to help them against Seattle, where you're going to have more speed out there. Especially, I think Frankie in coverage doesn't need to shouldn't be a thing. Like Frankie should be line. He should be near the line of scrimmage, trying to go after the quarterback. I don't care if that's blitzing him. I don't care if that's having him off the edge. Like it's better. They're a better defense when they do that. When they have Frankie able to do that. So that's where I'm at with that. I think that's a great adjustment. Getting Tyler Owens out there. That's a guy you've been high on forever. Like I'm gonna give you your flowers, Donna. Donna was high on Tyler Owens off the rip before it was a thing. She was like, "This Tyler Owens is going to be amazing." Like so, Tyler Owens, putting him out there. Obviously, everybody knows his physical skills, his size, his speed. You got to see that a lot against Kansas City because he was on Travis Kelce a lot, and he did a good job when he was on him. And then to me, I've always liked Jordan McGee. I just think he has a lot of speed, and he's a guy that I feel like
he's
physical too. Yeah, and it's cool that he gets to learn from Bobby Wagner. So eventually, when he will be the replacement for Bobby Wagner, and he will be, but you get to learn from one of the guys who's been one of the best in this game, period. And even the Bobby Wagner thing is kind of wild because if you look at the stats, Bobby Wagner is like top 3 in tackles in the league. I think he's like number
3 tackles on the year.
He's top 3, and people still giving him shade is wild to me. But yeah, so I just feel like injecting those young guys with the vets that you do have is gonna make the team better. It's gonna make the young guys better, and it's gonna add, keep the vets a little fresher too at the same time. So I do like
Wally, my only downside of that is what took you so long?
That's my problem, Donna.
Because my thing is we're 8 games into the season, going into the 9th game, and you just did that last week, and we've seen some of these same things over and over. I mean, the 4-man front, 3-man front, 5-man. This is the first time really that it's been a 5-man front. You may have had this a little bit because Jordan McGee has not played a lot, but this is the first time that you really had the 5-man front for you to be able to get him all the in. But if you saw that you needed the speed out there, my question is, why did you wait so long to insert these guys in there?
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's
I don't know about the playbooks or anything.
He's joking around. That's the outside.
All I need is 100 pages at max. And really, how many plays do you normally use as far as that? That's the reason why I say that, scaling it back and everything has helped this team, because sometimes you don't have to be so complicated with certain things. And my thing is, if you got 20 plays and whatever, and somebody is doing 4 right, let's scale it back a little bit. Instead of doing 20, let's maybe do 10, where they can do those 10 right. Versus trying to have so many multiple ones where they're thinking too much. I think that they wanted to take the so much of the thinking out where they just react and they're not thinking. And I think what we saw at the beginning of the season where they were thinking a lot versus reacting.
Yeah, Sanjay, good point. He said same thing last year when we as the fans said move Terry around. They did it and it worked out. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes folks are stubborn in their own ways. They're like they think they not to say that like
until you're forced to have to change.
Yeah,
say, hey, we better change it up because this ship ain't selling right.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like fans are smarter than coaches, and by far they're not. These guys are in it. They study for this. They do this. Like I'm not
and
saying
they smart.
That.
I'm not taking anything from coaches because it's a lot that goes into
game planning.
Let me just say this: people need to understand. If you never played the game, if you never coached the game, you may not understand totally the scope that goes into it. The stuff that you have to learn as a player, that I even had to learn on the basketball court. And it took doing it over and over again, the different things that they were telling you to do. And you had to get that in where you were just reacting and not thinking about it. It would just came as second nature. And last week, that's what I saw a little bit of. It became second nature to the players where they took the thinking out. And I want to see how that transitions this week for the second time of how that's going to play out. And I, kudos to the secondary a little bit, although we still got to get the explosive plays a little bit better. But Trey Amos is playing lights out. Love him. Maybe he'll be on, top receiver this week. Everybody has to me, step up their A game more so. And the defense, to me, again, have to clean up some of the little things still, because that's what you're seeing a little bit. But the confidence is there where they believe that up front they can get to the quarterback. Sam Darnold is not going to run around the field like Holmes did. So that means that he's going to stand back there and try to survey. So that should give you an opportunity even more so to get to them. And the key thing for this Commanders team going into this game, you cannot make those mistakes as far as hitting the quarterback late, hitting players late, getting those penalties where it would have stopped the chains if you did not get there. Same thing.
Just say Quan. Say Quan. Quan. What are you doing, Quan?
Well, and not only that, Johnny got one hitting the quarterback when you had already stopped him and you just need to pull up. And I know that
that's
in
hard,
the heat of the moment, you there. But I'm just saying on both sides, they've got to clean up the penalties and whatever, because I think the Commanders last week in the first half, they didn't have any penalties on defense. That's a clean first half. But guess what, Wally? It's 60 minutes to a game.
Yes,
and to me, Tony McGee and I was talking today, is that the second half is what matters most.
Yeah. That's what we always talk about when we used to. But I mean, I know, like I always mention Joe Gibbs because I love Joe Gibbs. But it's like that's why we talk about like Joe Gibbs and the second half adjustments is like, because that's like, to your point, it's the most important portion. Like you're closing the game out, just like in basketball. That fourth quarter is everything, right? In football, like that second half sets the tone.
Hey, that's what Patrick Mahomes them did. They made adjustments. Andy Reid and all of them made that adjustments, and look what happened. Yep. I mean, the fact that they put it was 27-7 or 28, whatever it was.
28-7 was the final
28-7. So again, it wasn't like that debacle of that Dallas game where I don't know what team showed up for that game, but they did clean up. And look. Dallas got exposed the next week.
I told you know what? Really that's how I was saying. That's why I was so upset at the coaching in that game, because I was saying, yeah, we're going backwards. I don't care. Now you just opened up a wound. Like that's where
Wally, don't get on that one, because that's a wound for me too. Because I said it is no way that you made Dallas's defense look.
There you go, Donna. That's what I'm saying. There's no way. That's when I knew. And then
Denver come and say, "This is
give
who
you
they
44
really are,"
and give you 44. Like really, like we score more than Denver throughout the season. They're gonna give you 44. Come on, man. And Jayden's healthy. Like Jayden's your quarterback. Like Jayden's out there. That's good enough. Like no, like I've seen lesser. Russell Wilson, who has struggled this year and got benched, gave them like the best game ever of his life. No, no one's gonna ever fool me into tell. Oh, Dallas. I knew they. I told folks right after the game. I was like, watch. They're gonna show you who they are the following week. Like, don't let that like what they did to us. We were terrible. Like we were outcoached that game.
Their defense is who we thought they were.
Yeah, exactly.
Now
that's
their
all
offense, I'm not taking anything.
No, their offense is their offense. Their offense is their offense.
They're legit.
They're legit.
But let me tell you this:
agreed.
Their defense is not legit.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Their offense is their offense, but their defense, there's no way we shouldn't have been able to move up and down the football field. Period.
The real defense is the better defense is the one that's coming in here on Sunday night, Seattle.
Yes.
But I think that this Commanders, being that Seattle has had this bye week, and you coming back off a bye week, sometimes you start a little slow and whatever, and that's where
Chicago
the Commanders have to attack.
We got to be careful with the bye because Chicago beat us right after their bye.
Hey, but let me just tell you, Chicago didn't beat them. The Commanders beat themselves.
But what I'm saying is like you still have to be careful too. Like they have to be careful that doesn't happen.
Oh
again.
yeah, because coming off a bye, I say you rest it because you got a lot of your bodies back from being off that bye week. So I just think that the Commanders have to control what they can do.
Yes.
Everybody worries about Seattle. They this and that. But to me, the Commanders have to say, hey, this is who we are, and this is what we need to do. I think they need to play a little more physical up front on both sides because, again, Wally, for me, it starts in the trenches.
Always.
I mean, if it starts there and this offensive line is smashing them in the mouth and being the bullies, then you're going to see a different atmosphere, and the same on the defense. But you got to be the bullies. You got to be the mean guys that's slapping them around and whatever, of dogging them out and whatever, not letting them dictate. The Commanders have to dictate on the line of scrimmage, the aggressors. And if you see that, you're going to see a difference on both sides of the ball for the Commanders. If they are that aggressive up front, where they are the dictators, that's where you win the battle this week.
Well, we know also like Sunday night is a very important night. Just if you're a Washington fan of this football team for years, one of the my favorite receiver growing up, Art Monk, he's gonna be celebrated. It's gonna be his night. He's gonna be celebrated, and it's all about Art Monk. The jerseys, obviously, everyone's hyped about the Super Bowl jerseys.
Hey, I'm hyped about it because I was there for that one.
I love them jerseys too, but I'm like, I need them to win. I need them to win on this night.
I need them to win, but I love the throwback jersey. I really like the old ones. I like the mustard pants and the arrows. Those are my favorite. But guess what? Anything that gets this team up, if those throwback jerseys and you got the Super Bowl kind of like entrenched in there, and I did see the helmets; they were pretty sweet.
They look sweet.
Hey, Wally, when I saw that helmet in one of the players' locker, I wanted to put it on my head and put it around. So it's got the yellow stripe coming down this way. And I was like, okay, that is popping. I said, that's what I'm talking about. But the energy is going to be in there. Art Monk, one of the best wide receivers, the posse, one of the members of the posse. I covered Art Monk when he played. Awesome. So I'm a little giddy this week, also excited about him being back and some of his teammates being back. So yeah, they say it gave him goosebumps. If I had to put that on, I may have told Jayden to throw me the ball or put it right here and let me run for it.
No, I get hyped. I'm not gonna lie.
Molly, did you see me in the locker room running for a pass from Jayden? You wouldn't have been able to say nothing. They be saying, girl, you will not be able to come back in this locker room.
You will not be able. You cannot come back.
Hey, I bet you I would have got them excited.
I think she probably would. Yes, she would have. When I saw it's crazy when I saw those jerseys before, when it was announced, I got super hyped. I was like, oh, we should just change our jerseys. Like that's the first thing. Like we should just change it back.
They
to
should
this.
get rid of those ugly uniforms anyway. Those are I told somebody from day one when they got those terrible uniforms, when they opened it up and displayed it, I said, who was the person who created these things? I said, because the quality, and I'm a person that sews and whatever, and I love fashion. Okay. I said, this is not quality. It looked like somebody just pasted those numbers on it, not even good numbers and whatever. And I said, this is not even a clean, sporty, nice uniform. I wish they would wear these uniforms, these throwbacks for the rest of the season into next year. This is your new uniform. We're not going back to the other. Keep the little yellow stripe coming down there and all that. But definitely when you see the quality of those uniforms, you start now, and then the colors are right. The uniforms they wear now, they ain't even the right colors and whatever.
Nah, it looked, I know, Donna.
They said presentation is everything. But at the end of the day, Wally, just get the W.
Get the W. It was going on, Roy. Yeah, definitely get the W. Paul said Harris should give the league a blank check and keep these uniforms.
Hey, I agree 100%.
Yeah, I would too, man.
I'm gonna put my 2 cents in when I see the president and all those people. I said, please keep these uniforms.
I'm serious. I would love to keep these uniforms, man. I think it would be amazing. I mean, it's a nostalgic feeling though for me. Like it's just different. I just know when I look at those jerseys, I look at a winner. You know, I mean, not just a winner, but I look at a Super Bowl champion. What I mean? That's what I'm saying. So it hits me different than a lot of people. You know what I mean? It just hits me different. But this game is also important to me. Like we got to talk about like Dan Quinn. He coached that Legion of Boom team in Seattle. So obviously, you know, he has a lot of emotions about, you know, that team, what that uniform and that team meant to him, because, you know, it got him an opportunity to be a head coach in the NFL, to be honest with you. So how bad do you think that he wants this game, knowing that his past and his history with the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, because I think they're gonna have their throwback uniforms.
Yeah, they're gonna hit throwback too. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I like Seattle's colors too, but yeah. I think that it comes down to, of course, you know, that was years ago when and think about it, Bobby Wagner too. So you think about with him playing with Seattle. So I think that it does not come down to him have coached there. And I think that he just wants to win because they need to win. It just happens to be Seattle that's going to be their opponent this week. It's more to me this week about Coach Quinn wants this team to get back on track with getting in the winning columns. And it just adds a cherry on top if it's Seattle. But the thing about Seattle is it's a different team. I mean, everybody for the most part is gone. You know, maybe if they still had the old coach still there, it would make a difference. Pete Carroll, it would make a difference. But right now, it's just too many different people. But like I said, it just happens to be Seattle. But I think Coach Quinn is just looking at, we got to get a win. I don't even care who the opponent is. So I think it's more to me, it's about, you know, getting over this hump. And as Von Miller said this week, it just takes one win to move this forward and everything. And then you go one game at a time. You can't look at Detroit next week, but it's one game at a time. I told you that those uniforms was hot. I told you. I love Seattle's uniforms.
They are. I
like the brightness and all that, but because I like Washington's uniforms because they were Super Bowl champ uniforms, and Seattle's is not.
Rory said, like the errors are wrong. The numbers are too high and too small. I haven't looked at them. Are they for the Super Bowl versions? Are they too high and too small? I gotta look at them again. I just like the color. Rory,
yeah, I just like the whole color, the whole thing about it.
Just remind me. I gotta look at it. I gotta go back and look at the
anything is better than what they wearing right now.
Facts. That's true. Anything is better than what they wearing right now. That ain't no lie. Yeah, you know, because Dan Quinn is such a competitive dude. He already beat Pete Carroll, so I guess he has that because he beat.
Yeah, but that's
Carroll.
What I'm saying. He already beat the person that he actually knew. again, to beat Seattle, I don't think, I mean, he was asked about it and whatever, but I don't think that matters as far as that is Seattle and he coached there because so many people are gone. But it's just about getting this bad taste out of your mouth of not dropping 4 games in a row. And they know that this season is getting away from them. As Zach Ertz said last week, the clock is ticking, tick, tick, tick. You're in the second half of the season, so you have to be able to turn the page. And you have to be able to turn the page this week.
Folks on YouTube or any of these platforms, make sure you like the video. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit that red subscribe button on YouTube. If you're on like Facebook or all the IG or X, make sure you like this video as well. Appreciate y'all. All right, so let's get right into like this game in terms of. Well, I do want to get I want to get your expectations of this game, like in terms of like the locker room. What's the vibe in the locker room? Knowing this team has dropped 3 in a row, they got this game against Seattle. Seattle's 5-2, playing good football. How are they viewing this game? How is it? The locker room upbeat? Do they feel like they need this W bad to keep their season alive? Like, what is the vibe in the locker room right now?
Yeah, I they just need to win. I don't think they think that, okay, we don't get this win, the season is shot. Okay. They just know that they have to get this win. Now, what is amazing, and I credit that to Coach Quinn, is I can't tell that they lost 3 games because they're not acting like that they lost 3 games in a good way.
That's good. No, it's
good. Because the confidence is still there. The locker room is upbeat. It's not like, oh man, you'd have lost the locker room because they'd have lost 3. If anything, you could see the fight in them more. Because I was telling the players, I said, hey, you better go get this win. They said, we're going to get it. I said, I believe that to be true. But again, I like to mess with the people because I'm look, Wally, I need a win. So I said, hey, you better get this win. You better get this win. That's I seen. I said, hey, you better get it. Look, when I finished talking to Wally after the interviews, I said, hey, you better get this win. But I see an upbeat locker room that still believes in the brotherhood, still believes in the team, no finger pointing about nothing, whether it's the offensive side or whatever. You'll never hear that. That means that locker room is still together and they're still confident that they have a good team to be able to turn the corner. So I see the energy, as Coach Witt said this week, that in walkthroughs on Thursday, it was one of the best walkthrough this season. He said he saw the communication, the energy, the buzz, the focus, the details. The players were telling me the same thing. So I think that this team believes that they can really turn the corners of it, and they still think that they are a team that is a good team and whatever. So I the locker room was really good. Like I said, I couldn't tell they lost 3 games still because of what they were saying out their mouths and everything like that. I just saw confidence still.
Do you how much? All right. I'll ask this question because there was a lot of pressure on Joe Witt, obviously, because the defense hasn't really I feel like they're taking the right steps. Like we're looking at last week. I don't blame on Monday night. I don't really blame him for Monday night because I feel like he put because the turnovers they forced, they put the offense in a position to kind of help out the defense, and Cliff didn't do his job. That's my thought process. But do you feel like he's a little more calmer because of what they did on Monday night compared to the prior weeks? Because obviously it has to be stressful knowing the way this defense has been playing and then seeing something positive in a way. Just same thing for Marshawn Lattimore, right? You could tell that interception helped him out. Do you feel like a game like Monday kind of helped Joe Witt kind of ease up a little bit from just how you look at him in pressers and see him around Ashburn?
Yeah, I think that just making some adjustments from what you were doing, and when you simplify things for the team, you simplify things for yourself too. Yeah, and I think that that's what you're seeing as far as tweaking, because I know everybody's been on Coach Witt about, his defense and not performing. But I think that sometimes they forget is that look at the amount of injuries that they'd had. And I know everybody said every team has had that, but it does change the scope of what you can do when you lose some of your main horses up front. And then you have to try to plug in other pieces. And it takes some adjustments to get those other pieces plugged in where you're getting the output that you need from those guys. So I'm giving him some grace there. But I think that they, again, what I said earlier, what took them so long to make the adjustments with putting these guys in like a Jordan McGee and the Towers Owens that adds more speed to your defense to capitalize on some things. And that's the only knock that I have is that you've got to be able to quickly make some adjustments to your defense when you see some of the things maybe being more complicated and the guys may need to have it simplified. And as soon as that happened, I think it helped everybody, players and Coach Witt and the other guys and everything.
No, I agree. I do think that like that's my question too. Like that's the thing, that it shouldn't take you a drastic change to make these adjustments when you kind of can already see where it was coming from. Like you can already see the struggle, like what you kind of needed. And it shouldn't take you, like to your point, well, we're week 9 now, like week 8. It shouldn't take you like the week 8 to kind of make that adjustment. It should have been a little bit earlier than that. I do agree with that. But yeah, I mean, it's always gonna be difficult when you get hurt. I'm not gonna act like I'm different from anybody. I've been very critical of Joe Witt Jr. I've been critical for him for 2 years, actually, even like a little bit of last year, because certain things I'm not a fan of in terms of schematically, personally. That's just what my thought process is. But I don't like, but I like to think of myself as a fair person, though, like to a point to what you're talking about. Like that's why I don't put, even though they gave up 28 points, I don't put that on him. You know what I mean? Like I don't put that game on him. But I do think that from like the presser I watched, I thought he was a little bit more relaxed, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I think, it was a change there. It was a little shift and everything, but I mean, I like his pressers and everything because I think we learn a little bit more. But again, I just think that, I mean, I thought that they still ran on them, even though he said that they
ran on
didn't
them.
think they ran up as far up the
middle. He said right up the middle. I thought they ran up the middle too.
I saw them run up the middle a little bit, but
I did too.
Again, I think, I thought that was an area that they didn't do good in stopping the run last week. Now, in the past weeks, they did do a good job and everything. And I think that Deron Payne, I didn't mention him, but for him to come out and play with that injury last week, toe injury, it's important for him to be out there because, like I said, Johnny Newton probably will play this week, but you cannot afford to lose any more bodies up front because it affects the defense in so many ways. But I just think that, by making those changes, it made life easier for him. Also, with Coach Quinn talking about we're gonna scale back some things because that was my thing is to simplify, scale back, whatever it takes. And we saw that when they did that last week, you could see a change in the defense. I thought that it helped both parties all the way around.
I think when he said it initially, I was like, I wanted to know like what I knew it was gonna be some changes. Like I was like, is somebody gonna get benched? Like I was thinking the first thing I thought, like, I think Quan's gonna. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think Quan Martin's gonna get benched. That's the first thing that came in my mind. I think Quan's gonna get benched, and then it was like, and then I was like, dang, will they really bench Lattimore? Because I knew like what was going on with Lattimore was in his head now, and that was to a point where now you could tell he's pressing, and like will they bench him like to kind of like quick like to calm him down? You know what I mean? Because I feel like like when.
I'd have been there before. Well, I didn't get benched, but
you know what I mean, though.
I got put on the second team. My coach said he was trying to take the pressure off me, but I was like, and my attitude was, I'm gonna show you.
It's not like a bad like when I'm talking about being benched, like you could tell like now, like after like when you saw it on against the Cowboys, like he was starting to get emotionally. You could tell it's definitely bothering him. You know what I mean? And that's why. Again, you could tell by other people's reactions of how how big that interception was for him. You know what I mean? That
Oh,
lets you know
yeah.
also, it lets you know also like how much it was getting on him. And also on the flip side, how much he needed that interception, because Dan Quinn running up there, giving him like a high five, all the players rallying around. That doesn't happen for every interception. Like that lets you know something.
Let me tell you, the response of each of these players rooting for each other
crazy. Yeah.
is great. I mean, this young group, I mean, I've been with veteran teams and whatever, but when I see the cheering and the support, I mean, I see the defense standing on the sidelines when the offense is going at it, and vice versa and whatever. But he needed that pick me up, and that's what I'm saying. All you need is like one thing to turn the curve. And for him, for that to be that, and I think being named captain this week,
I think that was
going to be even bigger in a morale boost, lift for him in so many ways. Because sometimes you just need to know that you're appreciated.
There you go. And I think and again, so I feel like that, but I was thinking about that. And then when he just made those subtle changes, and to be real with you, you may not like the score, but if you want to be fair in terms of comparing it to the product prior, it was better.
Oh, a lot better.
It was better. Like that's all you aim for is improvement. You may not get the win, but you want to see improvement. Like, and that you saw improvement.
The fight. I want to see that. Even if you didn't win, I was like, man, they gave it their all.
Yes, agreed. So that's where when I saw that, I was like, okay, your changes worked. And then you did it, and it worked, because it did start, like you forced 2 turnovers out of arguably, I mean, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play this game. Period.
And Wally, their turnover ratio is close to the bottom. So for them to get 2 in one game is tremendous. And the key thing is when they get those turnovers, the offense has to be able to capitalize on there, because they gave them those turnovers in good field position, and they weren't able to go down and punch it in. And one area that the Commanders are good in on offense is in the red zone of punching it in, but they didn't even get the ball, move the chains enough to get in the red zone to punch it in. So when you got a defense that's giving you the ball and whatever, you got to come away with some points on the board for those turnovers. And Coach Quinn was talking about, if they could have done that, then you will see a different game as far as going in at halftime.
Easily.
They should have been up 21-7 at halftime.
I've been saying this, Donna. I'm with you. I've been preaching that. Rory said Jayden's about to bring that extra fire this week. Everyone will play harder. I agree. That Donna was talked about that earlier. So like it's something about when you have JD5 out there as the leader, everybody plays harder. That's a fact. Thanks, Rory.
5.
All right, so Donna, before we close the show out, man, what are your keys for a Commanders victory over the Seahawks?
I already mentioned that in the trenches, they have to be the ones that are the bullies. They have to be able to dictate on both the defense and the offensive side up front. It starts up front. And then I think, because to me, if you give Jayden that time to survey the field where he does not have to run the ball and whatever. And I just think that the running game is going to be so key this week. And again, I don't care about Seattle being stingy with the run. You got to find a way to run the ball and stick with running the ball. Like I said, I think that Debo and Zach Ertz, I think that they have to be point on this week in helping Jayden out on the offensive side of the ball. And on the defensive side of the ball, they cannot give up explosive plays, and they can't make little mistakes, jumping off sides, penalties, and all that is going to be key too. And they have to be able to execute. Did I sum it all up? To me, those are key things for me that is going to end up dictating how this team comes out Sunday. Sam Donald has played well. That defense is probably the strength of that team for the most part. But I think that the Commanders have some things that they can do in order to set the tone this week versus allowing Seattle to come in here and set the tone. From the beginning of the game, you be the tone setter.
Yeah, Roy's agreeing with you. Says yes, ma'am. He agreeing with you. I totally agree with you. I feel like they gotta win the time of possession. Like that's got to be it. That's what I wanted out of the Kansas City game. Win the time of possession. Like that's a thing. I want to see you run, Bill. I want to see Bill get about 10 to 11 carries. I want to see McNichols get about 8 carries. I want to see C-Rod get about 5 to 6. Like that's why I want to see something like that. Even and it could be more than that. I want it to be adding up to like 20.
I want you to be effective in the running game.
Exactly. But I want it to add up to like at least 25 to 30 carries, and you can split it up how you want to split it up with the 3 of them. Like, and I'm cool with it because I feel like this team has been effective running the football when they do it that way. I think Paul mentioned too at the same time, like the Chargers, throw the ball to your backs. You know what I mean? Like throw it, like he said, like throw it. I want them to throw the ball to He said,
I watched that in practice. All the guys can catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, you know that Jeremy McNichols is excellent at it.
See, he's awesome at it.
He's like an extra receiver for you.
Yes.
I just don't want him to do that little screen play to the side that never works. I just think that if they're talking about throwing out some things on defense, that is one that needs to be thrown out on offense.
Yeah, throw it out.
So yeah, but I think that if they do those things, set the tone, and you be the dictators and everything, I think that this team comes out with the W.
Okay, I love hearing that. Well, Donna, it's always a pleasure having
you
on. W. It's always a pleasure.
Washington S.N. win.
Yeah, like
let some of that Super Bowl flavor rub off on you.
Yes, I like that. Like Rory said, C-Rock continually underused. I agree. I don't get it.
100%.
100%.
And I'm not understanding that. I know that he was hurt one game and so forth a little bit, but I saw him out there this week, so he ain't hurt. So I'm hoping that they utilize him, because every time last year that somebody went down and they put him in, he produced.
Yes.
In a big way.
In a
not
big
a little way, but a big way.
That's why I don't get it. It's not that he does a little bit. He produces in a big way. Like in a big way. Like I don't know. I'm trying to understand. Like I get, like I'm gonna say this again. I get the infatuation with Bill, because Bill is good, great story. He has an explosive ability. But you got other guys too that can help you win games, and like you can take the pressure off of Bill, because you're asking for him to be like, again, I think Bill has a lot of wiggle. I think he has a lot of ability. But I'm not saying like Bill is Saquon Barkley, or he's like Jonathan Taylor.
He's not that kind of back.
Yeah, he's not that guy.
He adds his own
flair.
But Wally, I think that the NFL has come just like NBA, is that everybody, the NFL is almost like pass happy and whatever. The running game is not as powerful, or people don't do it much, but you see the teams that can run the ball are going to be the ones who's in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Those teams that can run the ball. It's almost like the NBA. Everybody wants to be the 3-point shooter. No, you get down there and be the big man down there. Nobody wants to be the big man. Big man is out there shooting 3-pointers. So that's, to me, like the NFL, to me, is the pass happy league. And I understand some pieces of that, but you have to be so balanced in everything, where you pound that ball. You pound the ball, then you pass the ball.
Donna, I'm with it. Donna, we come from like the Joe Gibbs type thing. That's where we at. Donna.
There we go. Counter gap.
Yeah,
stop
you already know.
Run it until you can stop it. You never were able to.
Exactly. Counter trade, counter gap, gut. You know what I mean? We there. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Yeah, exactly. Rory says C-Rod has the lowest mileage of any running back in the league. It seems like he doesn't run enough. And Paul said
that means that he's fresh.
He's fresh, exactly. Paul says, yes, this is going to be a good game. Let's get the W. Let's get this W. Agreed, Paul.
Yeah, let's get this W.
I love it. Hey, Don, before we end this show, man, let folks know how they can catch you on social media and catch the Tony McGee Pro Football Plus show.
Yeah, Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus comes on. Matter of fact, you can catch it tonight on Wednesdays and Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and you can also catch us on In the Minute podcast, which is just a spinoff of the show during the week to catch all the happenings during the week for the Washington Commanders. You can catch that on YouTube, and just in case you don't get Mid-Atlantic Sportsnet, Masson, you can go to our YouTube channel that we posted there where you can catch it there. Also, you can catch me on X, Donna Hopkins _, and then on social media, DJ Hop 32. I didn't even need Wally this time.
Yeah, you don't. See, look, I got you, Donna. I got.
Hey, Wally, let me tell you, Wally is the one that pushes me to basically post more and all of that. You owe it to him on X. I'm posting more on X. I do it on Instagram. Instagram.
You doing Instagram? Yeah, you doing Instagram.
But for X, you can thank Wally for all the contents and some of my colleagues. But I got to give Wally the kudos first because he's the one who said, "Donnie, you got to get out there. Got to do it." So kudos to Wally. You can thank him. Go on and give him his clap, flowers, and all that down.
Thank you, Donnie. Because look, you got so much great content on Twitter that's gone like viral.
Yeah, I'm trying to give the people where sometimes they can't see things, and if I'm out there, I'm trying to put it out there where people can share in on the happenings, all the happenings with the Washington Commanders.
And you're doing great work. You always do great work, but they get to see it. But everybody gets to see it now. You know what I'm saying? That's what's the most important thing. They get to see like how these players relate to you, and they kind of laugh. They laughing with you. You cracking jokes together. I think it's dope. So I think it's dope.
Yeah,
y'all singing.
The funny thing I'm not gonna say nothing at this, but the rookies had to wear Halloween costumes today, and that was hilarious. I said, "Who's that Big Bird costume up on the thing?" I asked one of the players. They said the rookies have to wear costumes. I said, "What?" I said, "Not." They said, "No, the rookies have." I said, "I know y'all got them." They said, "You better know. You better know it." So Bill put his uniform on, his costume on, and he was Superman. So I was like, hopefully that Superman will make him super. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, Superman had powers, Bill." I said, "What's your superpowers?" He's talking about he ain't got none. I was laughing at him, but he funny. But I said, "You better not have no kryptonite in the bag or somebody to put in this week." I said, "Superman was all powerful, so you better be running like Superman this week."
Yeah, Sunday, you better be Superman on Sunday.
Yeah, but that was pretty funny. Somebody was Big Bird, so y'all got to look at social media to look at the rookies and find out who they were for Halloween.
Oh, that's dope. That is dope. Well, Donna, always appreciate you being on. You are awesome, folks. Who in the chat, Rory, Paul. Who am I missing?
Appreciate
Santiago.
all of you all tuning in to listen to me and Wally tonight. I'm always appreciative of you all coming on and joining us and liking what we have to say and whatever. Hopefully you like something what we said.
Yeah, I did. Paul did say, "Okay, cool. He's gonna check it out." Appreciate everybody, man. Coach Lombard, man, everybody. You all are dope. George. I mentioned Santiago. You all are awesome, man. Appreciate you, everybody. Anyway, you've been listening. I always appreciate Donna. Donna's amazing. So make sure to put that out there.
I always appreciate Wally.
All right, thank you, Donna. That means the world to me. I appreciate. Hey, who else got a comment? I'm trying to close the show. Y'all give me a comment at the end. Yeah. I'm Wally. All right. Donna knows me as Wally. All right. Not Wole. Donna knows me as Wally. Like, hey, Rory, real talk. My nieces and my nephews, they call me Uncle Wally. My brothers and my sister, he calls me Uncle. They still call me Wally.
I got permission to call him Wally.
She got permission. Like, neighbor, if y'all wanted to call me Wally, y'all can call me Wally.
No, y'all can't. It's just me and his
just Donna. All right, it's just Donna.
Y'all just keep calling him what you've been calling him. That's my specialist.
All right. Donna calls me Wally. You got it. All right, y'all heard it here. It is what it is. All right, it is what it is. Anyway, you've been listening to the Urban Sports Scene. For ages, you dig? Deuces. We are out. Peace.